So, as we come back in, as both the Emperor and Dusk had their shared hallucination, we come back into the church as the followers are excited for what is happening, having never seen Lark pray before them. They can't wait to experience this. So as you stand in front of your group, they all stand. They stare. The older folks are leaning in to make sure they catch every single word that you mutter. You hold the black skull in your hand and you begin to pray. Is that correct?
Yep, I'm opening my brain.
Indeed. Let's dive back in.
All right, partial.
Okay. So as you begin to enter in, you feel the presence around you, but you don't see it yet. You know the entity is here. You can just feel him, but you
Yeah,
don't
and
see
Lark has
him.
probably experienced this before. Like sometimes the entity wishes to present itself in full, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably like less common. Sometimes it just sends a message.
Mm-hmm. What
It's
is it?
busy right now.
What is it you ask of the entity?
Lark kind of like taking in the darkness surrounding them just says, "It appears we find ourselves at a crossroad once again. I know you said that the Wraith would lead us to the path that we must follow, but I am not quite sure how to gain the trust of the Wraith. Please, show me what I must do to bring the Wraith amongst my ranks."
So, as you begin to speak, you wait for a moment and it feels weird. You wonder, was I heard? This is the first time I'm being watched. Is it because I'm in a crowd? A million thoughts begin to race through your mind. The darkness begins to clear, and you begin to see figures standing in a room. It's like you're looking through a like one of those milk glass things. You can just see shapes, vague colors. But you catch the eye, or you catch some lettering on a wall. It looks like a door, a plaque. It says something about a hospital, a clinic, a ward. You recognize the name that's etched upon it, as it was a settlement that you went to a long time ago. The settlement that you had found Rourke in. What's the name
Ooh.
of that settlement?
Um, the name of that settlement. I will say that place is known as I'm going to say Meyerfall. It's probably the name of the town it used to be, and they just kept it.
Mm-hmm. You hear screams of a young girl, but you can't see what's happening. But just like that, they stop, and you hear the voice. Make her whole. And you begin to feel that sensation of darkness rising up your body, up to your chin, entering your mouth. You hold your breath as it washes over you. And as you reawaken, you see everyone's moved a bit closer to hear your words as if you had been whispering. And they kind of look to you like, what just happened?
Got like the weird shadow movement again.
Mm-hmm.
Lark kind of like looking at the skull, just the entity has a job for us. I assume you have all heard of the Winters Wraith. I assure you that this is no ghost. This is a person blessed from the entity, possessing abilities beyond perhaps even what I'm capable of. Now, the Emperor seems to wish to recruit the Wraith for his own purposes, but I think her talents are best spent with us. Therefore, and Lark kind of like looks around, realizing he's getting a little loud, and he wants to make sure once again. He just has like this weird compulsion to like look behind him when he talks, apparently, because 90% of the time, like he's gonna say something he doesn't want someone to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So he just looks like towards the windows to see if there's anyone like within earshot.
You do notice like a few people, but again, because of how loud everyone was kind of cheering previously, they've taken kind of a wider skirt around. But you do see as you kind of turn the shadow of yourself that's being cast upon the wall is about 10 feet tall, but you can't see the light source that it would be coming from. Like, it is just much larger than you.
I think that like empowers Lark. He's like, the entity is with me.
Mm-hmm. As you're
And,
talking about the Emperor sees his back.
This is weird. Lark's about to go like full villain right now. This is not the direction I thought things were going. Lark looks to the group, and he talks a little bit quieter, but still like loudly. Rikara is already working to repent for her sins against us. She is attempting to gain the favor of the Emperor's bodyguard so that we can potentially have leverage against him. There are many things that we must discover, and I am trusting each and one of you to discreetly, let's the word discreetly hang in the air, like looking at everyone, even looks back to Abraham. He's like looking at you on this one.
That
Discover. Sorry.
that everyone just stands like, yes, we have not been given orders. Tell us what our path is. Lead us, Lark.
He turns. There are 3 things that we must know more about before we can properly proceed. The first is the Emperor himself and his inner circle. Anything useful against them, any information about the workings of the castle, I want to know who he has in charge of what. The second is the Wraith. I discovered footprints by the storage shed. If possible, locate her, but none of you are to approach her. That task is for me and for me alone. The noise she produced when she came to the church before, she's dangerous.
Larissa's like, still. Was that what that was?
Yes, unfortunately. The Wraith herself has some strange abilities, and some of them very dangerous, so I do not want any of you approaching her. Merely uncover what you can and discover where she is staying. She is a physical being and has to be within the castle somewhere. The third thing we must learn about is the group that the Emperor wishes to wage war against. Whether or not they are an enemy or an ally is yet to be seen. If we are to be forced, and I do mean forced, our options are unfortunately very, very scarce in this situation. If we are to be forced to wage war against them, I at least want to know it is a cause worth fighting for. Or if we must bolster their numbers against the Emperor, should he turn out to be little more than a tyrant that must be purged. Am I clear about these three things?
It starts with the back row. You have what, like 10, 12 individuals here, right? It's a fairly small group.
10, yeah.
They step forward.
Actually 9 because Makara's gone.
True. And they grab a hand, walk forward until it's a line that kind of surrounds you, hands held tightly. They all bow their head. Lark has spoken. Lark's legends will be true.
And Lark kind of looks to them. You have all demanded violence from me, but this is what I've demanded from you all along. True unity in a coordinated effort to please the entity and bring about a better world. This is what I have been trying to teach you for so long. This is what we need to survive, grow, thrive, spread our ways. Our ways will be the true path that everyone will soon follow. And go.
They all nod their heads, kind of give each other hugs, slaps on the back, and begin to disperse. As the church begins to empty out, all three of you begin to hear the hollow dong, dong, dong of a bell. Emperor, you would recognize that bell as the sound that the Infernerator, the furnace, the Infernerator, whatever that is. That's the name of the individual that runs the furnace.
Someone's just scratched it onto the stone.
Yeah, no, he's actually the recent one of the recent guys I hired. His name is the Infernerator.
The Infernerator.
I thought it was like a furnace that doubled as an incinerator.
There we go. Yeah, it's all of the above. It's the big hot fire that's gonna burn the bodies is prepared, and whoever, it's to symbolize, it's time to burn the bodies. But Emperor, you're still in the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Crusacious is looking a bit confused. Drag is there with your hand is still kind of on his head, and he's just looking at you, and he's struggling to keep his eyes open, just trying to look at you.
So the Emperor's looking a bit like disheveled right now. Like, it's clear that whatever happens, the Emperor didn't. he's not feeling his best right now. But the Emperor, he's going to take out a knife of some kind and stab Drag through the head with it.
His body falls limp. Crustaceous just kind of chuckles and goes about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the Emperor like takes the knife out. Without lowering Crustaceous, he's like, "Do what you want with the body. I need to go talk to someone."
I'm frightened by those prospects.
I'm just going to cross drag from my puppet strings.
There you go. Yeah, as Dusk, as you find yourself back in Shazaz's room, you sit there for a moment, and that connection you had felt only moments before seems non-existent as those puppet strings disappear. Another death on the day, but you hear the bells, and Shazad kind of hears them, but he also hears his parents starting to become more quiet, and kind of says, it's probably time for you to go. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Dusk gives him a hug. And he can feel that her body is warmer than usual.
Mm-hmm.
Probably it explains how she walks around in just a nightgown outside.
And I
mean,
think
it's
he's
probably
used
not the
to
first
it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, then she exits his room through the window.
So as you hear the bell, is that something Dusk would go to witness, or do you have somewhere else you would be planning on going?
But she doesn't really have much better to do right now, so might as well.
You can see that those individuals that are still kind of up or sober enough begin to go, and there seems to be a fairly large amount of the guard, the ones that are not on post, are heading towards this part of the castle as well. Emperor, where is this large furnace that you have been using for bodies but are beginning to use more for blacksmithing purposes?
It is going to be like right here where I'm hanging. So near the north side of the town.
Okay.
Yeah, so the manufacturing and everything is going to be there.
Ping it for me one more time.
Okay. It's like it's to the north of the green-brown square.
The green-brown square.
Or square, rectangle, I should say. Like the marketplace or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Right there.
Here, I should probably pick like a darker color. Like the contrast is pretty. Here, let's pick red. Yeah, there you go, right there.
Yep. Perfect.
There you go. That's a better contrast. It's also really close to the GM's color, so I'm going to change that. There you go. That's different enough. Yeah, so the manufacturer's right over there.
So Lark, your followers kind of notice that it's time as well, and because some of these bodies are yours, they turn and begin heading that direction as well. I would say that the crowd itself is probably around 50 or so people, mixture of guards, some townsfolk just wondering what the commotion is about. The furnace itself has kind of a building that's around it, and there's been 5 of these. They look like very basic kind of plywood movers, carriers that have been brought in. The bodies of Windjammer, East, Last, and the 2 kind of rucksacks of yours are there. Windjammer, East, and Last have been completely stripped naked. It's the apocalypse. Anything useful is taken away. And then they start with the bodies of East and Last. And it's just 2 of the workers, kind of nonchalant, and just pick them up and toss them. As their bodies hit the flame, shoots kind of embers up through the smokestack. As you kind of follow the smokestack, you notice that there's like 3 or 4 individuals that are up on the roof above the smokestack, and they appear to be roasting some kind of meat from the smoke and the steam that's coming out of it.
Is Lark present for this?
I think you would have heard the bell, so if you wish to be, you would, yeah.
Lark definitely wants to be, being that some of the bodies are his, but when they throw Easton last in, he kind of like, his hand like goes towards the knife and just kind of grasps it and just like, it's going to be an unpleasant memory for him. He didn't know to have to do that. Like yes, that they were like, it looks like that they stole from them and everything, which probably would have, it would have required some degree of retaliation later, but in his mind, it's like another mother and son trying to survive. Like, he did not want to have to do what he did.
And Emperor, as you would have had time. Would you be out here as well, or would you have gone?
Actually, no. The Emperor is, he's actually going to the church, and as soon as he notices that Lark and his foes are not there, he's going to be sitting on the steps in front of the church.
Okay.
He's going to be sitting there with like his hair is looking relatively disheveled. He's not looking at the top of his game right now.
Okay.
But he's waiting for Lark specifically.
And Dusk, how close are you getting? Are you like, did you find another high perch from a building that you're kind of watching from afar, or?
Yeah, if it's open, an open space, she totally do that. Okay.
So yeah, you found like a perch to look. They begin to move over to the rucksacks. Your followers kind of look to you to see if you have anything to say or do before they dispose of the bodies.
Lark kind of trying to think of like a common gesture he would use. He's better with words anyway. Lark kind of like mainly talking to his cult and everything, but like other people can probably still hear him. Just saying, 2 taken well before their time, merely trying to do what we've all been doing, and it could have been any of us, but Fuse and Julia both leave us this day, but let their deaths not be in vain.
With that, they're both tossed. You notice that with their bodies, the smoke is a bit darker. And that could just be because there's more fabric and things around it. But Lark, you see that as the entity is with them.
And that kind of puts his mind at ease.
Embers and smoke rise up. Again, the folks above are turning, these roasts of meat over the heat. Finally, Windjammer's body, and with that, the legate steps forward, looks to his men. He was with us for a long time. Fought well. But he was a fucking dumbass at times. Windjammer, wherever you are now, fight hard. To our brother. All your guards. Dusk, how does it make you feel seeing the body of Windjammer laying there? Unmoving.
I mean, it wasn't her intention to
Yeah.
kill him, but it was an unfortunate circumstance. But she doesn't really feel much for him.
They pick up his body, go over and place it into the fire. Flames begin to look over it.
Lark kind of grabs the skull and says like a silent prayer, because in his mind, like Windjammer was almost hit.
And I think a few of the other followers, they recognize that as well, and they kind of, tug each other, close and, family. You begin to turn away when you hear these popping sounds, and you turn back, and you see as Windjammer's scarred flesh begins to disintegrate, these small bursts of dark black goo expel from his body. Pop, pop, pop. And as his body fades, you see this blue ashy sense rise up through the smoke.
Lark's just kind of like looking at that and like kind of like he looks back to like the legate and some of the other people. Like, am I the only one that saw that? Did that happen?
Did it happen? Does anything truly happen?
It's hard to tell. Do you want to Yeah, looking around, I would say most folks seem to just thought it was a crackling of timber. Anything like that. Yeah. I feel like this might be another read a crowd. They need a read a crowd move. Yeah, I'm gonna say let's read a person, and we can adjust some of these questions.
I could very specifically be trying to read the legate since he's like
Okay.
right there, and if anyone saw that, it was probably him. And who knows? It might be of some significance that he saw it. Maybe it's a sign. All right, that's a success.
Oh yeah. So what would you like to ask of him as he stands there, still arm kind of across his chest? The rest of his men kind of standing behind.
What is he really feeling?
What is he really feeling? I think there's I think anger. He's feeling angry at the fact that one of his men died, and he's not quite sure why or who.
All right. I got two more. There's one I really want to ask, but I think I'll save that for the third question. For number 2, what does the legate wish I do? I'll try that one.
I mean, he's been around for the conversations. Let's see. Let me look at the legate real quick. Let me see what he might want.
A sociopath, but not as much a sociopath as Cruciate, whatever his name is.
I don't think anyone's as much of a sociopath as him. I'm telling you right now.
That man is a future heart holder.
In Lark's mind, he's a future corpse. So.
In Invictus is mine too, but he's gonna throw him at the enemy. Loves people.
He wants you to obey. The Emperor's giving you an order Like he wants, in a way, he wishes he could discipline you to obey. He wants you to fall in line like his men.
My
All
boy,
right,
like
so-
he's loyal.
Speaking of which, my last question will be: how can I get the legate to listen to my teachings? Not necessarily outright join me, but I want to get his foot in the door.
So you need to make it be his decision. You cannot force him to listen. You have to entice him to listen in some way. Offer him something that he can't get from the Emperor.
Mm. All right, I got some ideas about that. He seems to like discipline people, but doesn't seem to like the response being charged.
Mm-hmm.
Lark's gonna definitely, just watching the legate. I mean, just kind of like the smug grin the legate had towards him earlier. Lark's returning that grin now.
So after a few moments of silence, the crowd begins to disperse. Your followers begin to head out in their different directions, heading to the tavern, a few going to just socialize, catch up. The guards have a few more moments. Lark, do you stay for a while to watch?
Lark will stay for a while, but not too long. He's gonna go back to the church after like the fire starts to die down a little bit. Starting to stink out here, so
After probably a good 2 or 3 minutes, and in Dusk you would see this as well, they start to get close together. And the legate pulls not his large sword, but his dagger out. It's this curved dagger. And one by one, they form a line. And they walk by. He takes his knife, and he slices each arm. And they walk by, slice the arm, walk by. And they're slicing it fairly low down on the arm. They'll pull a piece of bandage or just put something over to hold the wound. But you'll notice as you kind of watch this that some individuals have more scars going up and down their arm than others. And it kind of seems to symbolize their length of time with the raiders. And as members die, they will mark themselves to symbolize their death.
ooh, that's interesting.
And you'll actually recall that Windjammer seemed to have probably
Yeah,
about
and that's
60 marks across his body. And
that,
you also
that was definitely something. That was something that definitely drew Lark towards him.
you
There's a
also
lot of
see
bad
after
raiders.
studying the legate, he seems to have no marks on his. But as you begin to make your way back to the church, Dusk, you see the crowd disperse. You see the guards mark themselves. What would Dusk do? You probably see Lark begin to make his way to the church as well.
Well, what the guards are doing seems kind of dumb because why would you open
course.
yourself?
They're just, yeah.
Um,
The guards are baseless dogs. That's all they are. They bark. They try to bite.
Invictus has the bite. They have the bark.
He has the chains.
Invictus has the chains. You can make them bite, but until that point, they're all bark.
so Dusk will stalk Lark
Okay.
just because she has nothing better to do.
I'm gonna have you do something under fire. Yeah, try to stealth. See if anyone might notice.
Windjammer's ghost finds you. Oh shit!
Windjammer just wakes up from the grave. You.
Dun dun dun. So as you begin to make your way around, you go around the back side of one of the buildings to skirt by the wall, and you see a shadow appear on one side. A man steps out in front of you, a man that you've seen before with Lark. This is Rourke. And as he stands at the front, he crosses his arms, and you hear footsteps back behind you. And you see another man, a man that you've seen around Lark, as Ram steps behind you. Rourke steps up. I did not think it would be this quick, but I am very happy to see you, child.
She just scowls, trying to be intimidating, but doesn't move.
He releases his posture. There is nothing for you to fear. We are not the guards. Lark, he wants to talk to you. He cares for you. You had a little conversation with him earlier today, did you not?
She just continues to stare.
Will you come? A little tea? A little talk? No harm?
She just starts walking past him.
He moves forward to block your exit, and you hear Ram walk up a bit closer to you. They're probably about 3 feet away from you, and you're stuck behind this stone kind of building and the wall, maybe about 4 or so feet from side to side, maybe about 10 or so feet from corner to corner, and they're both just kind of standing, filling up the space. There's no need to leave, just a conversation. There's no harm in that, is there?
They are doing so
She
much more
continues
than I
to-
wanted them to.
She just continues to stare with the same intimidating look.
I'm
And
just waiting. Touch Dusk.
she's-
She murders them.
Her expression is like, if you don't move, something bad is going to happen.
Rest in peace, Rourke.
I'm gonna have to punish everyone.
He steps forward, and he kind of places his hands together like this, and kneels down to kind of get on your level. One knee down. Look, I know that they call you the Winters Wraith, but I do not see ghost before me. I see someone that is lost. Lost like I was a long time ago. If you truly wish to pass, I will let you do so, but no, you cannot find the way on your own. It is through fellowship that you will find your way. I only ask that you come, you speak with him, a single conversation. That's all he needs. And after that, if you wish, we will leave you on your way. But if you go with us now, we will let no guard stand before you. We will let no one stop you. We will keep your secret safe. No one will know that you're there.
Mm, I would do like read a person, but
Yeah.
I suspect it's telling the truth. But
No,
well,
read. Why not? Let's read it anyways.
Exactly.
May as well be sure.
You can always
Okay.
miss.
or not.
There we go.
Or not.
What would you like to ask?
With the 10, is it how many questions?
Three.
You get-
3 questions.
Okay, so I guess first of all, is he telling the truth?
He is. He honestly believes that you are lost and Lark will show you the way, as Lark showed him the way long ago.
Hmm. How lost was he before he found Lark?
Hmm. So,
Is that what's your character really feeling, maybe?
yeah. So Doom, on the basic moves, read a person. There's the 5 moves you can ask.
Oh,
5 questions, yeah. So you have, is your character telling the truth? What's your character really feeling? What does your character intend to do? What does your character wish I do? Or how could I get your character to blank?
And you can always modify them slightly to suit your
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the handouts, basic news, you can see them like easily listed.
okay. So what is he going to do if I don't go with him right away?
Follow you.
Hmm. I guess I know what he wished I do. So what was the last one? The last question?
How could I get your character to blank?
To blink.
To blank, like how could I get your character to,
Oh.
and then you fill in that blank, whatever you want them to do.
Hard decisions.
What could I do to for him to not follow me if I don't go with him right away?
Give him proof that you will talk to Lark. That's all he wants, is just for you to speak with him. So if you tell him, like if you find a way to prove to him that you will do that, but it has to be on your own time, then he'll accept that. That's, he's not here to cause you harm. Technically, he was told not to approach, so he's a bit in a strange situation, but doing the best he can.
I mean, he is like touching her, and she read it badly.
No,
when
he's
Lark...
not. He's not touching her. He's still about 3 feet away, and he like kneeled down to kind of get lower, so he could see her more eye to eye. But he's
Oh.
kept his distance.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you had placed like a hand on her shoulder or something.
No.
Okay. So they're basically blocking the only exits that I could take, right?
For now, yeah. And unless you wanted to try to climb up and over the wall, but as far as the alleyway, they have both ends kind of blocked off.
What? The ghost can parkour?
I mean, how do you see them on top of buildings and stuff? Of course they can.
It's true. Thought you were just gonna phase through the building.
I mean, I could do something to that effect, but I mean, realistically speaking, at this point, she was stalking Lark and probably was going to talk with him anyway, so... It's a bit... strange situation. Okay, I guess she just stands there. But her expression softens a little.
He staying on his knees. There's no pressure here. I can understand why you might be hesitant to speak with strangers. The world is it's a scary place. If you're not willing to go and meet with him, just tell me how I can have him meet with you. Give me a place, give me a time. Just give me something.
There's like a light sigh from her, and she just starts to skirt around him again.
He stands, and you hear the footsteps behind you begin to approach quicker, but he reaches his long arm out and kind of stops Ram. Said, "Not right now. Let her go. You be safe now." Moves out of your way to let you pass.
Okay. So after that, she just makes her way to the church, but in a more discreet way.
So as that's happening, Lark, you approach the church and you see the Emperor sitting there. And at first, you don't think that's the Emperor. You just think it's someone sitting there. But then you see the armor and you see the face and you recognize it's him. There's a few folks that have like slowed their walk by, looking very strangely at him, but not wanting to be noticed. Kind of pick back up and continue to go.
Lark kind of like seeing that, like, actually bothers to close the door as much as it gets closed for once, and he kind of walks over. Have you decided to come pray with us?
No, I need to talk to you.
Lark's immediately gonna read a person.
There you go.
All right. Partial success. One question.
Okay, what is Invictus really feeling?
Good question, actually. He's feeling pressured, but he's also feeling like he just found out something big, and he needs to tell someone that might understand him. And right now, he
Please
feels
talk
that
to Dr. Lark.
kind of, but it's more like he needs an ally right now, and the way he sees it for this particular threat, you're the only ally he's got.
And exactly what is it you need to talk to me about?
In private, somewhere. I don't care where.
Is anyone else in the church?
No, you sent your followers out to task.
I've had many private conversations here.
Sure, doesn't matter where. Not anymore. The Emperor gets up, kind of like dusts himself off.
Lark kind of
Like, goes to the church.
walks past him and goes kind of towards where the podium was, but then remembers it's broken and just turns back to face him.
Yeah, it's still like kind of laying there in the middle of the aisle, kind of broken.
It's like, oh, right.
Sorry for breaking your property.
Hey, if anything, it's my property.
It's technically true. For now.
So the Emperor walks inside the church. I'm just waiting for luck, I guess.
Yeah. You seem much more troubled than you were last time I saw you.
So the Emperor's
Is everything with Drag all right?
Drag doesn't matter anymore. Let's say he's not in the picture anymore. I have bigger matters to concern myself with, and you too, actually. The Emperor kind of sits down, kind of like clasps his hands like this, kind of like sits up against something and like basically sticks his hand like right against his hand like this for a second, closes his eyes, and it comes back up in a sort of lucidity. It's like, Lark, let's drop the formalities. All of them. I mean all the formalities. Let's drop the Cult Leader Act. Let's drop me being the Ruler Act. Let's drop it all. Okay? For now, I'm Mark.
Really, you threatened to have me killed last time I called you that.
Things have changed since then.
Apparently. Lark kind of takes a seat in one of the pews and just kind of go ahead, tell me your problem.
I saw her. I talked to her.
The Wraith, she found you so quickly.
I don't
Did
know
she-
if it was her who found me or we were just drawn together by coincidence. You know, the thing that I so hate doing that you seem to love doing? Opening your mind to the weirdness out there. The shit I don't understand.
There is a slow grin coming across Lark's face. So I take it you're here to talk about a bit of a out-of-body experience.
I don't know what the fuck to call it. Sure, I guess you'd call it that, even though I was in my body, I think.
And interesting, you met the Wraith there.
We were drawn together. She didn't have control of the place. No one did.
Then I take
I was-
it control was wrestled away from both of you by the entity.
That thing is what you call the entity? I don't want anything to do with it. That thing will be our fucking death. That thing is going to kill us all. If that's what you call the entity, then you get the fuck out of my castle.
Let's not be hasty about this. You like facts, things that can be proven, and
Do
my
I-
God has
let
been
me
proven to
explain.
you.
Let me explain. Because if that's your god, I'm going to fucking kill that. The Emperor kind of sits back. Okay. Let's just say, for sake of dropping formalities, I was interrogating Drag with, let's say, an associate of mine, trying to find out exactly what was going on today. You kind of see, like, with his manner of speech, with his mannerisms, the Emperor's definitely, like, on edge right now. So, not knowing exactly what the fuck to do because of all the weird shit that's been happening today, I, with the fucking idiot I am, decided to touch Drag, open my mind up to fucking whatever is out there. Usually when I do this on my own, I'm in the middle of an ancient battlefield. Playing a game of chess with something. That's generally how it is. In a way, it was kind of similar to that. Except the battlefield wasn't this old, ancient place, it was the fucking castle. The very courtyard we were in, with bodies of the citizens lying everywhere. And the person I was playing chess against was the fucking Wraith.
It's about at this point that Dusk, you approach the edge of the walls. You can see there's some individuals in there, but you can't hear what they're saying. They have a conversation. They're seated talking about something, but they're talking in hushed tones back and forth.
Can she identify them as Invictus and Lark?
As you kind of get closer, yeah, you can see like the shiny parts of the Emperor's armor and the weathered kind of coat that Lark wears. You can recognize it as them, but again, they're talking too quietly from you to hear kind of through the walls.
Hmm. So I don't think that the church is that big. Would it probably? I'm not sure if I can get in without getting noticed at this point, since it's just the two of them in there.
And Lark did close the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How's the roof situation on the church, Lark?
Good enough to keep the snow out and not much else.
And I do believe that the windows that were there had been blasted from her previous time there. So
Probably
the way
still
I see the church is it's kind of like a singular room, like kind of a long stone room, you know, pews and aisle, and then where you kind of have your stage, and then off on the other side, kind of an exterior attached storage building that you keep all your produce in. So there are probably windows off to the side, but you guys are sitting right in the middle, and again, talking in hushed tones. So I would say you could definitely attempt to either get inside using one of the windows, or try getting to the roof and getting like right above them to listen in.
From the windows, I can't listen like from the outside.
You'd have to get closer, so you'd have to like get in the windows and like duck behind one of the pews to get close enough to hear. Their words are just not carrying far enough, like you're not getting a clear conversation.
There's probably broken glass around there still too.
Ow.
Dusk is barefoot.
That just sound of sheer disappointment.
I'll take the chances. I'll try to sneak in through the windows.
Okay. I'm going to say... through the windows. I feel like it's cool, but I also kind of feel like it's hard. I'll let you make the choice. Do you feel like it is by your ease and skill, or just I don't care if I hurt myself, I'm just getting in there the quickest and quietest way I can?
Definitely
Sorry?
Definitely the former.
Okay.
I think it
Act
would be
against
cool.
Yeah, it's act against cool.
Ooh.
Oh. So
I think we might notice you.
as you
Knocks another
climb
pane of
yourself
glass.
up, you don't notice like the ledge is pretty well worn. You place your hand against it and you begin to tumble, and you feel some of your cloth begin to like pull up against the window, and you're actually going to take 1 HP as you like scrape yourself through the window, and you find yourself dangling kind of upside down, just being hung up by some of the shards of glass that were still in the windowsill. Yeah, roll that harm move for me, just +1 to see how bad these wounds actually are. Okay,
Oh, wait,
no, that's good. That's good. Let's see. Instead
I
of suffering
didn't,
some harm.
Was it +1? Because I think I rolled just harm.
You're fine because it would have been a 6.
Would have
which
been
is
a
still
6.
miss.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say just for this one, so on a miss, I can either choose something from the 7 to 9 list above. If I do, though, instead of taking some harm, you're suffering, you take -1. So I'm just gonna say you lose your footing, so you don't actually take that harm. You just find yourself hanging kind of upside down in the windowsill. Lark, you see it first. There's like this blur of motion, and then the Winters Wraith is now hanging off the side of your wall.
Does Invictus see this as well? Or no?
As soon as like Lark's eyes clearly dart to see something, you turn with it, and you both see her hanging there.
Speak
Lo-
the fucking devil.
Lark kind of like moves over there. In his head, he's thinking, how the hell did this girl remain hidden for so long?
Like,
And,
down here, make sure she doesn't get hurt.
He doesn't want to respond to that because he doesn't want to make it seem like he's taking an order to do it, but he's going to do it.
This is what we call alpha douching.
Oh my god. I love this dynamic between Lark and Invictus because it's just like they keep switching the moody teen and the parent role.
Yep, pretty
Anyway,
much.
so Lark hurries over to Dusk and tries to help her down, just like, we have a door.
How you doing, Dusk?
She's kind of pissed. She's giving
Lark
you
does
that
look
look
over
again.
at. Sorry. I was gonna say that Lark looks over to Invictus. Dusk.
So she told me her name was in the dream. I never finished that story, but now you remember the thing, right, Dusk? Please tell me you remember, for God's sake.
She's just trying to get herself loose.
Okay, you know, bring her down, Lark.
Yeah, Lark helps her down the best he can.
Your garments are a bit more shredded, but they kind of already were. So there's a few extra holes and tears in them now.
No one would notice.
Pretty much. She just once she's free, she just scurries to the corner and just sits there,
Dusk,
halting.
tell me you remember what I saw or what we saw.
Lark looks over expectingly.
Silence. Yeah.
You know, big shadow man, lots of smashing, corpses. No?
There's another moment of silence, and then she slowly nods.
Okay. I'm not completely fucking crazy, but or maybe I am. Who fucking knows these days? Alright.
Oh, don't let labels like crazy bother you. I stopped letting such things get to me long ago.
You're a fucking cult leader, Lark. Alright.
A fact I do not hide.
No, you clearly don't. Let me finish this story. Feel free to intervene, Dusk, if you have a different interpretation of what I'm about to say. Okay. Where was I? Yes, so Dusk was facing me. We were in front of this board game, this game of chess. There were no pieces on there. We were surrounded by these corpses. Then this giant fucking creature, made of pure darkness and shadow, emerges from the hills. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, the fucking hills, they were green. There was the fucking sun. The sky was blue. And this thing emerges from those hills and goes to smash us. I grab Dusk and duck out of the way. As that thing steps and destroys where we were sitting, and then destroys the castle with its other. Eventually, something happens with Dusk where she's surrounded by darkness, and I fall out of the dream.
And Lark looks at Dusk. And did you fall out as well?
Another slow nod.
I don't know exactly what's happening, but there are a couple things that I'm goddamn sure of. A, I know a threat when I see one. And that was clear as fucking day. This entity, I hope to dear God isn't your entity, because it clearly wants something to happen which is going to involve lots of people dying. Or at least, it's definitely going to be involved against, I want to say, humanity's interest.
This is a bit unsettling.
At this, Dusk just gives a sharp glare at Invictus, like she's saying, "You know what I told you."
Here's the thing. Dusk, and even I to a certain extent, she doesn't want more people to die. And I'll be honest, I'm dropping my Emperor Invictus formality here, going back to old Mark here. I created the castle so that it would stop me from dying. You know those fucking guards I have outside, patrolling the streets? They were significantly worse before I got to them. This is them being disciplined. Here's my problem here.
Actually,
I have-
Lark is going to interrupt him. Did you listen? Did you discipline Drag as well?
Wasn't me who did it. Or at least, let's just say me taking him out was a mercy.
So you
Drag's a little
claim not
different.
to wish for people to die, yet you killed one of your own.
I wish for people not to suffer. The shit I saw him do, like you kind of see the Emperor, like now that he's remembering and he's outside of like his Emperor space, he gags a bit. He physically gags. And he kind of like refocus himself.
Lark looks over the
Sure.
Dusk. Lark wants to see what Dusk does.
About what?
Drag, I assume.
Yeah,
Gagging.
Hello?
What's Dusk's reaction to Invictus's mention that he mercy killed Drag and then seems to be sickened by what had happened to him?
She gives him a look, but it's like it's not really discernible. He'll probably have to make a sharp roll or something, but she's a bit
I'll try to
Yeah.
read her.
I feel like Dusk is like that T-shirt, the many faces of Dusk, and with all the emotions, but the same face.
Mm-hmm.
no, it's like
Oh boy! Constant stream of fails.
All these fails, they've been hiding till this session.
Right?
Jesus Christ. Okay, I still get one question right to ask Dusk.
You do.
What are the basic moves? What are the basic moves? What's your character really feeling?
honestly hard to say. She's like she's a bit sorry for that she put Drag in that situation, but she doesn't really connect with him, so she's not really that bothered. But she knows that what Invictus did was a bit brutal, but it's not discussed by it either.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like a mix of all that.
So yeah, with that miss, yeah, Dusk, you see an opportunity. You've never seen the Emperor with any sign of weakness before. And he definitely seems to be exhibiting some element of weakness, confusion, concern, and lack of control. So yeah, that being said, if you wished, you could absolutely project some ideas into his mind, and I am willing to give you a bonus to do so.
Oof.
Perhaps the biggest power
Would
play
you
of
like
the game.
to go aggro against the Emperor?
I mean, what would she do?
It's what do you want him to do? Would be the question.
What would she have him do?
Mm-hmm.
So he was confessing that he killed Drag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I was going to have him like confess the whole thing, but he kind of already did that.
Could make him feel remorse.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess I will do that. Like, make him even more remorseful for taking lives that relentlessly.
Okay. Roll plus weird plus 1.
Is there any way I can interfere with this out of curiosity?
Lark is gonna help.
Sure. All
this
right.
is
So
Lark's domain.
we're starting with a 9. Yeah, I would say in the Emperor Invictus is definitely not cool with the Maelstrom stuff. So I think your mind kind of has to be shielded. So yeah, let's roll your hex to see how well you're okay.
No.
Good. And
Guess I'm feeling remorseful about killing people.
yeah, Lark, you wanna help here.
So that pushes that up to a 9, I think.
So it's already at a
No, because
9.
He didn't have.
Oh, so it pushes that up to a full success then.
I'm not sure if that gives
Uh,
a bonus.
when I rolled
actually,
weird, when I click for rolling, it says like input value,
Oh,
and
okay.
I put
He
like
did
1.
get the modifier.
Perfect,
and he
perfect,
did get
okay.
the extra modifier.
So I'm not sure if it counts already. I think
If
it
you
does.
bring your
So-
mouse over the number,
Yeah,
it'll
I
show
see.
you like all the
Yep.
individual
Oh,
components
yeah.
of the roll.
Yep.
All right.
And then Lark got that as well. So yeah, it's a 9. Emperor. You start to feel bad about drag. But I mean, that's just drag. There's
Start feeling
another
pressure.
there's another face that appears in your mind, one that you haven't seen for a very long time. Face of that woman, the one that got away, the one that you've been searching for her replacement but have not found her yet. You see her and you haven't seen her for so long. Who are you seeing right now as these emotions begin to pour over you, and the sadness of not having her here at your side to make things right rush over you like a tidal wave?
I'm gonna say it's a woman by the name of let's go with Sarah. Sarah sounds like a good name. One of the few people who knew me as Mark. But I lost her in the snowstorm while I was leading my people to safety. Never found her. Maybe she's still out there. Maybe she isn't.
Oh, I had an idea for that.
Yeah, I would. As you see this, I think both Lark and Dusk, you hear him mutter out like, "Sarah, I miss you," or something, and he catches himself like saying it, like he didn't mean to speak, but he just couldn't hold it in. And just then there's a knock at the door.
Lark like motions with a hand for Dusk to like get down,
She hides.
and he goes and opens the door slightly.
Warwick looks through. Hey, wanted to give you the heads up. I know you said not to approach, but we just came across the Wraith. It was just Ram and I tried to talk to her. I tried to make her feel comfortable. We're gonna keep our eye out for her. Just wanted to give you the heads up. She might be around, but I'll let you know once we find out more. And he kind of looks past you, kind of gives you this confused look as he sees someone sobbing back behind you. Just sees the back, armor's kind of obscured, but kind of looks everything okay.
Yes. I hope you realize the risk you took in approaching her.
I didn't. She just was there. I didn't know what kind of opportunity there would be. Trust me, I know there's something weird going on with her. I
I
kept my distance.
appreciate you taking the risk, but do know that specific order was for your safety.
I understand. If I had thought of any other way to be able to talk to her, I would have. You said to follow her. I just saw the opportunity. She just seemed lost. I connected. I apologize. I apologize.
It's all right. I have some further business to discuss with the Emperor here. We'll need a moment.
Need us to watch the door?
No, I think things will be
Someone's getting
quite all
shanked.
right. Just keep an eye out if you can. Have you checked the market area for footprints?
That's where we were headed. We'll go back over there. We'll see what we can find.
Good, if possible. Find the rabbit in its hole, I guess.
Of course, of course.
And Lark's, may the entity be with you, Rourke.
As it is with you.
Lark nods, slowly closes the door, holds it there, listening for their footprints to make sure they're leaving.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You hear them discuss. You hear Ram like, did he say the Emperor? And like a hit. Shut up. And they make their way.
Lark's just like in his head. You're damn right, I did.
Did I hear Lark call me out by name, by any chance?
No, you're deep in sobbing about Sarah. Unfortunately, Dusk did, because she's back in the corner, back by the door.
She already knew his name. He told her in the dream, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lark kind of, you can come out now, Dusk. They're gone. I appreciate you not giving them the same treatment you gave me during our first encounter.
She just gives Lark a look and sits back where she was.
I apologize for having to tell them about you, but I honestly feared for your safety and your well-being, and I could not keep an eye everywhere.
She just sighs.
By this point, I imagine he recomposes himself eventually.
I am a fierce and strong leader. I am a fierce and strong leader.
I am Emperor Invictus. I am unconquered. I am Emperor Invictus. I am unconquered.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like sighs, wiping the last couple tears from his face. He's like, back to the business at hand. I came here to talk about no more lies, no more deception, no more cat and mouse games. I know you're kind, Lark. You're probably already plotting something of some kind. I honestly don't care. I've been dealing with that sort of stuff ever since I took it. You understand what I don't. And I understand what you don't. I know the machinations that make a government work, that make a people work towards a common goal.
How
You
many
understand-
of those governments ended in a fit of violence? Out of curiosity, I haven't read the same books.
Too many to count. You have no idea how untenable it is, especially to run society in the cold like this. The
And
spark it could take to end it all. This is why I have to be in this. A strong person, more than a person, to hold it all together. The moment I die, this all falls apart. You do realize that. If I'm out of the picture, this will fall into chaos.
I agree. And if I were to pass, then though you may view it as far inferior than what you have created, I would lose it, everything. And these followers of mine, who knows what they do? Many of them I found completely aimless, but with these violent tendencies, nowhere
Lark,
to
you don't
direct
need
them.
to threaten me. I know it when I see it.
I am not trying to threaten you.
I have no intention to do anything to you. I hope you understand that. I knew of your reputation already before I brought you to the city. I knew about Ouchtown.
Please understand that my philosophy was never violence for the sake of violence. As you see in your history books, violence will be there whether or not we want it to be. And Dusk, I know you might not want to hear this, but please hear me out. Violence is going to happen. It always does.
That is something I can agree with.
People get hurt. We all become weaker for it. The things humanity can do to itself, the masochism is unrivaled by anything else I've ever even heard of. The entity...
Shut up about the entity, Lark. That's not why I came here.
Please, like,
You can
forgive me.
apologize later.
Forgive me, but it is where my idea stems. My idea is that rather than try to stop all violence, we must direct it in a way that makes society stronger, not weaker.
What do you think I've been doing all this time? Why do you think I prepare for war? Society has gone too restless, Lark. That is still not why I've come here. Why I've come to talk to you. So please, I told you to drop the facade of the cult leader. Drop it.
This isn't a facade. It is unfortunately the...
It doesn't matter whether it's a facade or not. Drop the attitude of coming at this from a cult leader. I'm talking to Lark the person here, not Lark the god. Just as you were talking to Invictus, not the emperor of the person.
I see. So what is it you came here to acquire?
I didn't come here to acquire anything. I came here to guarantee the next generation. To guarantee that the moment that any of us die, that it will mean that everything around here collapses. Right now, if I die, the castle dies. If the castle dies, that means that the careful network of trade that I've cultivated over the years, the careful negotiations, everything falls apart. Everything. If you die, your teachings die. Your connection to what lies on the other side die. Your followers. I don't want to talk about what happens to the followers. And you, Dusk, you're also included in this. There's clearly something to you, Dusk.
I'm sorry, you're roboting wicked.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Not for me.
Is
Am
it
I
just on my
roboting
end?
for, like, also you, Stilts?
No, you're doing okay.
It must be
Okay.
my end. I'll drop in and out of the call quick.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. What was the last thing you, like, heard me actually say?
Let's see. I got some words, but they're all really jumbled.
Okay.
Just mainly about next generation.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just repeat what I said there. What I'm trying to do here is guarantee the next generation, Mark. The shit I've seen. If we don't act, there won't be another generation after us. Humanity will die out. Haven't you seen the shit that's been happening in the sky? Stars disappearing? There's something there. I just don't understand what the fuck's going on. And right now, as things stand, if I die, the castle falls apart. And all the careful networks of trade, everything that's brought people together, will fall apart. Everything will be back down to square zero. I'm in square one, below that. If you die, Lark, for some reason or another, we lose your connection to what's on the other side. I don't care what you call this entity you call the entity, but you have some sort of connection to it. And I hope to dear God that the thing I saw wasn't the enemy. Because if so, that means we have a big problem. A problem that would end humanity.
If what you saw was in fact not the entity, yet you still saw it on the other side, then we do have a problem.
Indeed we do.
And
then
Lark
final-
is like muttering, "Oh my god, that will be a big headache."
And even you, Dusk. As I'm sure you've noticed, you're not exactly the most, how should I say it, normal person around. You clearly are a bit different. And you have some sort of connection to the outside. And by the outside, I mean what we fucking experienced just a couple of hours ago. Here's what I propose. From this day forward, we need to all work together. All of us. No more hidden plots against each other. No more threats, no more violence. We need to be able to trust each other. We need to act as equals. To figure out A, how to guarantee the continued survival of humanity, and B, figure out what the fuck that thing was, and figure out how to fight it. Because the way things are going, humanity is dying. And I don't want to be the generation that doesn't have the next one to tell what they did.
Lark's kind of like nodding a little bit, like, all right, you're like, he's seeing that Invictus might actually not be the tyrant he was fearing he was. Like, there's some like legitimate logic here. It's not like, I feel like starting a war. But with that, Lark. So then tell me exactly what is your motive for the conflict with this group you've been referring to, that I still know very little about.
I'll be honest, I don't know that much about them either. That's why I'm very cautious about entering this. Here are the facts. One of my men, a man by the name of Windjammer, came up dead right after he was escorting the leader of this other group, a man by the name of CritsNDie. He
I
died.
shift over the Dusk.
And at this point, it doesn't even really matter who did it. It's the fact the entire guard, and especially Windjammer's blood brother, believes that it's them. I'm trying to hold the reins here. And my people are going to be crying out for war sooner or later. Honestly, it seems like Prince is a pretty reasonable individual, if not a bit weird with his third eye. That and the shit with the worms that he did to Angus. But that's something else. There are
The
two
words I
concerns
saw
here.
on the table.
Yeah, they went inside of Angus and he had to burn his hand to get him out.
Well,
There's
that
some weird
sounds
shit going
disgusting.
on there. It was quite disgusting. I'm surprised I managed to hold it in. But there are originally, when I start preparing, or I had only that concern, but now I have a second one. Clearly, there's something going on that, let's just say, we can't exactly explain. Now, Dusk, you're accounted for the most part because, let's be honest, that thing tried to step on both of us. And Lark, well, I'm just going to hope to dear God that the entity you're talking about isn't the thing we just saw. Princey and his people clearly have something to do with this. They're doing some weird shit. And they're not accounted for. Honestly, I would rather not start this war. I would rather live the rest of my life just conducting trade. Because you know what? Trade doesn't get humanity killed. Trade allows people to prosper. War doesn't. But if they're a threat, and right now I don't know whether they're a threat or not, I have to prepare for that eventuality. I have to prepare to exterminate them if they happen to be a threat to humanity. To what the hell is left up on this fucking mountain? That's why I'm preparing to start a war. Is because my people will cry for blood the moment they find out that there was a chance that the weird fucks killed one of my men. And B, the fact that they certainly may be involved with whatever the fuck Dusk and I saw. I don't like that.
Lark kind of like just nodding as Invictus is talking, says, "That's paper you gave me when the day began. That was for a delivery to these people, yes?
Yep.
Is that what I'm to understand?
Yep.
Do you still intend to make that delivery?
So far, we're acting as cautious as possible. We're trying to gain information first. I don't like fighting an unknown enemy. I at least want to find out A, where they are, B, what the hell they have out there, and C, well, we're going to get some information if the caravans don't come back. If they do, well, that means we can maybe gain their trust and take advantage of that trust if need be.
I see. I would very much like to go with this caravan, if possible, and see this group for myself. Perhaps I can see if any of this weird shit, as you describe it, falls in line with what I do, or is something entirely different. Either way, you will know more than you did before, and you will know something that your caravan could not tell you. I'm going to roll to manipulate.
I would like to interfere with that manipulation.
All right. Let's see.
So
You've been doing so good with it so far.
So I'm gonna like just immediately roll my. There you go. So take -2 your roll.
All right.
Only when it's me.
Right.
So that's a. Is that with a -2? Yes.
Yeah, that is. I did get that. So I'm definitely gonna say you can mark experience if you go along with this.
I'm gonna mark experience if I go along with this. Because I'm not that opposed to the plan. I would just rather one of your followers would. But
There's a selfish mechanical reason for me too. I needed one more. I didn't want to end the session with like only needing one, because last time that was just agonizing.
All right. You can go ahead and go with the caravan. Just, you swear to me that you're on our side. That you're on humanity's side here.
Absolutely. I may have a different way of doing things, but seems our goals are not too different after all.
Okay.
Lark turns to Dusk. And how is it you feel about all of this? You may not have a group behind you like the two of us, but you obviously possess something far beyond our capabilities. Like it or not, you're a player here, Dusk.
Dusk just like turns her head towards Lark and Invictus, and for the first time she speaks with her voice, and she's like, "You don't understand. If you sent me to kill people, you'll have more trouble than just whatever that thing is."
Thankfully, I don't think it's you that's gonna have to kill people for the most part.
I would
that bird-
certainly not wish to force such a dirty act on your hand. Hopefully, it won't even be necessary, but no, you obviously have greater uses than something as barbaric and savage as bloodshed.
Amen to that.
We both say, having murdered people.
Within the day.
Yeah.
Take two.
And she says again, "It is not the violence that I fear.
Mm.
It is what is inside me."
Then seems like a perfect opportunity to find out. For good or for bad.
Yeah, Lark kind of slowly nods at that. I directed my men towards the market district. If you wish to avoid them, and I assure you, I gave them explicit orders not to approach you. What Rourke did was skirting the line of what I had said. They won't harm you. You have no need to worry. And Lark kind of as a temporary token of my trust, if any of them give you any trouble, please show them this. Takes out his skull. He holds it out like he very much wants Invictus to see this black skull as he extends it towards Dusk. Lark's just like, this works last time.
She looks at the skull, but then
The skull
shakes
looks
her head.
back.
Be careful when fighting monsters. When you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you.
But yeah, she shakes her head.
Very well. And puts the skull back. Like kind of like sighs a little bit, like, oh, I didn't have to give it up again.
So we're all in agreement then. We're now
So
working
it's-
together, right? Now,
As it
honest.
seems, I should work to round up my people. Lark kind of like looking a little embarrassed. I sent them all out gathering information about you, your bodyguard, and yeah.
Feel free to let them continue doing that. There isn't much information that is particularly kept secret. But I mean, if you also want to bring them back, whatever you need to do to save face. If you want, I can even give you information.
We'll see what they uncover. It might keep them busy for the time being. You know what they say about idle hands. Which I'm not sure even Lark even understands the context of that saying. It's just a saying he's heard.
There have been many problems that have been caused by people having too much time. Well, if that's the case, I should probably get some rest for the night. Today was a very long and eventful day. I hope the next day will not have as much shit happen as happened today.
Yes, I am looking for a bit of downtime myself. This has worn me out quite a bit, like feeling like the bruises on his face.
So as you all begin to make your ways out of the church, the Emperor back to his castle, Lark to his personal tent, Dusk skirting the sides of the buildings back to the storage. Night falls, people still stumble their way out of the tavern. A few are still having some fisticuffs in the courtyard. The warmth of the castle begins to cause everyone to fall in that lull of peace and comfort. And we wrap up day 1 of the Frozen Heights, finally.
Was it day
Somehow.
1?
That was just all within day 1.
Man, that was a great session.
So,
Oh boy.
let's run through the session end real quick, and then we'll talk for a second. So, Emperor, which of these two fine folk do you feel knows you better than they did before?
I mean, that's hard because I think they both know me better than they did. Like, Dusk actually met me.
I think these are all going to be wicked hard choices.
I know, but like, Lark also saw like the side of Invictus that he isn't a bloodthirsty tyrant. That he's trying his best out here. So this is hard to choose. I'm gonna say Dusk, probably, because at least like we established sort of rapport. While Lark, we just changed the rapport.
And this was the first direct interaction between Dusk and Invictus, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So since I'm at 3, that means I go back to 0, right?
So that
no,
would
but
be
you go past 3.
Yeah, I'm going past 3.
You're going past 3, then yes. It
Yeah.
goes to 1. I think that resets to 1.
But you're actually having them mark the history on their sheet for you.
All right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You're right.
So I gain Hex with Invictus.
Correct. Yep. And if it brings you to 4, then you reset
Mm.
and mark
Yep.
experience.
So another experience.
Nice.
Yep. One of you two, please choose me. I need experience.
All right. Well, Dusk, who knows you better than they did before?
I would definitely say Invictus.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Lark honestly is going to get a lot of this information secondhand regarding Dusk. Which I think he's going to be a little bit jealous about, but
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Lark?
Let's see. I think I'm gonna have to pick Invictus for that because I think there was a little bit more. Yeah, I think there was a little bit more interaction going on there, and then what has essentially been a secret war between the two of them has just kind of resulted in a peace treaty.
Basically.
Oh my god, I was so like curious which way that was going to go, whether or not this was going to be a player versus player campaign with poor Dusk in the middle.
You know,
Or-
I'll be honest,
yeah.
this went exactly the way I was trying to have it go. So I'm happy about that. And I just upped my sharp by 1 set. I have 2 sharp now.
And some of those rolls didn't favor you at all.
No, there were a lot of tricky situations. Yeah. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that'll wrap up this session. It was a good one.
Oh my god, like the role playing.
If that isn't roleplay, I don't know what is.
Right? Indeed. So yeah, I have a quick conversation to have with you guys here in a second, but that's going to be it for the video. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you all for playing. And we will be back with more Frozen Heights. And day 2, 3, or 4, we'll figure that out when it starts next week. Take care.